Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. John Aravosis here from Washington, D.C. How's everybody? It's supposed to be rainy here today, and it has not been yet, so that's a good thing. Oh, man. I've had a busy day. How's everybody else doing? Not got the hang of the Discord malarkey. You know, it took me a bit of time to figure out Discord, I must say. Um, but I did finally, but it took me a while. Hey, everybody on TikTok as well. Exactly. Cue the Russians. Cue my tea. Cue my voice. I know. So this is the So this is the T-shirt I made for the sunflower protest outside the Russian embassy today. Pretty cool. And the best part is, I took a photo of one of the authentic Vyshyvanka, I'm going to pronounce them wrong, shirts, the embroidered Ukrainian shirts. Vlad has sent me many of them that I'm going to be auctioning off. And anyway, I took a picture of one, put it on one of those transfers, ironed it to my T-shirt, and I mean, it's actually pretty good. It doesn't go around my neck. I also was thinking after the fact that maybe I should have split it a little bit, like maybe I should have had the shirt open. But nonetheless, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So it made me happy. Vyshyvanka. Okay, Vyshyvanka. That's exactly. Okay, I did say right, Vyshyvanka. So it made me happy. But yes, I got to wear it to the protest today at the Russian embassy here in D.C., which I'll tell you about in a sec. And it was good. So warm tea, because my voice is still being evil. The protest went very well. I put a video on TikTok showing the protest. I also posted it on the Discord. Ha ha ha. And it went well. There were a lot of people showed up, actually. It was a really good crowd. You got a notification. Woohoo. Don't get used to it, James. TikTok's funny that way. Don't get used to it. Oh, hi to Ann from Iowa. Anyways, guys, yeah, thank you. Yes, I've got since the sun isn't blaring in, I actually can have the window open so you can see my flowers that are doing quite well. It's funny, the yellow one is that on here you can see the yellow one there is this beautiful, enormous marigold, but they're like 2 inches across. They're really cool. Well, we got them from the park back home. Mom and I like to go to the local park service and steal seeds. Because seeds are not stealing, and she's correct in that regard. But anyway, as always, guys, we'll go for another minute or two, and then I'll start. I just like to give folks a chance to come in. It was going to be 2 p.m. Eastern time today. Thank you, Mike. But because we had the protest outside the Russian embassy, I wanted to have enough time to get home, eat, relax, do my pictures and videos from the protest, which I did, and you guys will see there is a video on TikTok. A video montage. I did videos and photos that I put together in one thing for the TikTok, so you can see those. My voice is still a disaster. Lovely. What do you do about that? I don't know. I know, no relaxing for me. The good thing is today is the first day that I have not felt sick since getting the monkeypox vaccine last Monday. Thank you, Elle. Literally, I felt sick every day. I had 2 days of feeling like I had the flu, several days of feeling like I had a fever. Today, I'm actually feeling okay. I still, of course, have this, it's here. I mean, not to be gross, but this mark on my arm, this is from a vaccine on Monday. I mean, it still hurts. It's still like a little golf ball in my arm. I mean, oh my God. Oh, I mean, what do you do? It's totally worth it. Yeah, I know. My mom was like, maybe you shouldn't have gotten it. I'm like, wow, I'd rather not get the alternative. But I have to say, this vaccine kicked my butt more than any vaccine I've ever had in my life. It's just like whoosh. But and the voice thing, as I said, my voice was having issues to start with. We think from postnasal, who knows? And then the stupid monkeypox vaccine gave me a sore throat. which I'm suspecting it was like my poor little vocal cords that already had laryngitis from probably my allergies, then had monkeypox mug them with a sore throat. It was like, so now I'm back to squeaky voice again. Call me Squeaky, which of course is a reference to somebody who tried to assassinate a president. So maybe you shouldn't call me Squeaky. Anyway, oh boy, folks. Ah, yes. In any case, so yes, I am doing well. Let me update you on stuff. Let me put a little, hold on. I didn't number my pages. I could survive without numbering them, but I do like numbering the pages because it lets me not screw up. Although I don't have a ton of news today. I spent a good amount of time looking for it. We'll survive. It's not a ton of news. Not a ton of news today. But let me start. I will say, okay, here's what we're going to do. As always, you guys on TikTok stole the Q&A. It no longer exists in the lives. Am I a paid shill? No, I'm an unpaid shill, and I'd like to be a paid one. So make your donations, make your little your gifts on TikTok, make your super chats here, join my Discord, which will be public shortly. So all sorts of things, so I can be a paid shill. I would appreciate that. Any case, so what we should do, yeah, it'll help. I mean, I'm not worried about the arm. With me, the bigger case was this throat thing and everything else. My voice has been raspy for 3 weeks. This is getting ridiculous. And yes, I will be making t-shirts once we figure out if represent.com ever decides that they're going to approve my application. It's been over a week now. Crickets. If anybody knows anybody at Represent, tell them I'm actually a normal person. I'd like to use their service. I've heard they're great, but alas, you have to wait until they accept you. And I have not been accepted into the fraternity rush on represent.com yet. I hope that I will be, because they're the service I want to sell the t-shirts on. So let's still hope. So anyway, folks, there was kind of a late breaking story, not Ukraine related, but Russia ally related. There's some weirdness going on. Okay, sorry, real quick. For the Discord. The Discord is not public yet. We're so far, I just had, actually, it's ready to go live. I'm waiting for my buddy Syndicate, who has built the entire thing. I mean, amazing work here. I was waiting I wanted to set up the auction. I mean, the auction's set up, but Syndicate knows how to post stuff, and I'm still learning how to post things like the auction. We're going to auction this baby off as the first thing we auction. Thank you for the flowers. It goes well with the Ukrainian military patch, but it's a Ukrainian military patch that I love. Vlad sent me some. It is, as Vlad made clear to me, it is not currently worn by the Ukrainian military. It was formerly worn by them. And I was like, Vlad, it's freaking cool. I don't care if they used to wear it. It's a Ukrainian military patch, but you can see it's got the trident, which is really neat, the Ukrainian flag, and then says Ukraina, which again, you can see the size of it. It's probably 5 inches. Anyway, totally cool. This will be the first thing we auction off. It'll be behind the paywall, however, because for auctions especially, I don't want crazy people coming in and lying and everything else. So, because our auctions are going to be gentlemen's auctions, so to speak. I'm not going to take all of your information and everything else. You'll bid, and if you win, since we're all one community, I'm just going to trust that you're going to pay me, and et cetera, right? We're not going to, it's not going to be like a regular auction. So in any case, once we get that done, once the auction's up, really, and I want a quick little logo for my my Patreon page, we're done. We're done. We're ready to start. So it's ready to go public, and I'm very excited. And Syndicate's been absolutely, amazingly, wonderfully amazing. That's all I'll say. So, all right. So, yeah, so Kosovo and Serbia, and then I'll mention Nichelle Nichols I'm going to mention at the very end. Uhura from Star Trek, from the original Star Trek, just died today. She was 89. And I was going to tell you a story about her that's really cool. But Kosovo and Serbia, For now, sorry, we keep jumping all over the place. For now, the proceeds will go 100% to Ukraine. Either, our ongoing charity work in Ukraine, I don't know whether this one's going to go directly to the food charity or the next crazy idea Vlad comes up with. Whatever it is, it'll go 100% to the next, the next charity thing we do. But 100% of it will go. And eventually, when we start selling merchandise, for example, I'm going to probably do a percentage at that point, whether 20% I get or something, because none of this is making money. and I've got to make some money doing this or I can't keep doing it. So I'm probably going to, but the majority has still got to go to Ukraine. I think, well, the auctions especially, but even the merchandise stuff. Let's see what the merchandise, maybe 50%. We can probably do less for the merchandise, but for the auctions, I feel like for now, it's got to be all to Ukraine for now. So we'll see. In any case, because I could auction this one. Too bad. I would say I could auction the shirt that I made that I wore at the Russian embassy today, except that honestly, it's not the newest t-shirt and it's pretty good, but it would be a little grody. So good idea I had for a moment there. And then I went, ooh, I'm not sending you one of my old shirts. that would be too OnlyFans creepy. So we're not going to do. Thank you, Jordy, for the hanging lights. All right, let me get into the news now. We can talk more about the Discord at the end and my Vishivanka. But so Serbia and Kosovo, there's something going on at the border right now. There was already something's going on. I mean, like in the last couple of hours, something weird is going on. Tensions have gotten significantly higher. On the Kosovo side, they're sending all sorts of security and police and everything to the border right now. Something's going on. There was a report that somebody on the Serbian side had fired a shot. And this comes in the context of, thank you, Ricky Tiki, in the context of, listen to this. This is from Radio Free Europe. Ethnic Serbs in northern Kosovo blocked roads near two key border crossings with Serbia as tensions rose in the region a day before two Kosovar government regulations involving Serbia issued license plates and ID documents come into force. I'm going to tell you about this just because it made me laugh when I read this, because I'm like, this is what you're protesting? Thank you, ETM Sanders. So for starters, the ethnic Serbs in Kosovo were already pissed off because, get this, one, Kosovo is going to start treating border crossings the same way Serbia has always treated border crossings, okay? So let me tell you what the Kosovos are doing, but it's literally what the Serbs are doing. The Kosovars finally said, you know what? If you're going to treat it this way, we're going to treat it this way. The Kosovar government has said that on August 1st, travelers arriving from Serbia will have their Serbian-issued documents exchanged for new entry-exit ID documents issued by Pristina, Kosovo, valid for 3 months. The policy matches a long-standing practice that Belgrade, Serbia, employs for Kosovo citizens visiting Serbia. So that's the first thing. That's my laundry. That's the first thing happening is the Kosovars are treating Serbs coming into their country the exact same way the Serbs treat them. The same kind of visa rules and documents, etc. And the Serbs in Kosovo are livid over this, and it's like, why? The second thing, this one really blew my mind because I'm like, I can't even believe Kosovo put up with this. The second one, do I have it? I don't think I copied it because I read it, so I know what it is. The second one is for the last many years, cars in northern Kosovo. Okay, I made this shirt. Where is it from? I took a picture of one of these and I made the shirt myself. This is good feedback though, because Syndicate, I told Syndicate we should sell these and he was like, oh, okay, if you think so. Now, Syndicate, mind you, is Dutch, so there's always that not quite Greek exuberance that the Dutch have, but nonetheless, I got a whiff of, really? But I'm glad to see you guys like it. So listen to this. So the second thing the Kosovars are doing that the Serbs are pissed, the Serbs living in northern Kosovo have been getting license plates from Serbia these last many years. They're Kosovo. They live in Kosovo, right? They're Kosovars. but they get their license plates in Serbia because they're ethnic Serbs and they want to be cool or something. And Serbia, get this, Serbia issues the license plate with the letters representing the Kosovo towns. So like, I don't even know the towns in front of me. If it's whatever the towns are in the region, some, at least in Europe, I guess, in the States, we don't really do it. It's different in the States. But in Europe, the first two letters of the license plate tell you what town the person's from. And so the Serbs are issuing license plates for Kosovars who are Serbian ethnic. You get the whole thing. It's crazy. The Kosovars finally said, okay, enough already. Enough already. People in Kosovo are going to have to get Kosovo license plates. So that's the big reason that the Serbish ethnic groups in Kosovo are freaking out, and shots were fired today, and now who the hell knows what's happening? Who the hell knows what's happening? So it's kind of a mess, but I'm mentioning it because following it on sort of national security Twitter that I follow right before I came on, there's a lot of escalation happening fast. So they could break into a little war if people aren't careful with this. So we'll see what happens. So the other thing, yes, we went to the Russian embassy today. A group of us organized by Ben Wittes, who's an American legal journalist and runs Lawfare blog. And Ben had earlier in the year coordinated people to go to the Russian embassy in DC, plant sunflowers in the city property, and the city property in front of the embassy and the city property across the street, not the embassy property. And the flowers grew really beautiful. And what do you think happens? Someone, as Ben says, someone went and tore up the sunflowers last weekend and just dumped them in a big pile, right? So what Ben organized for today was a bunch of people to turn out and plant new sunflowers in front of the Russian embassy. And we did. And I've got the video up, but I will just show you, maybe I'll show you just a couple of the photos just for fun. Oops, where is this? I mean, I've got like a bazillion photos here, but oops, trying to see. I've got many of me, not gonna show you me. I mean, little things like this. Some people posted some people tied sunflowers up to trees because people brought living sunflowers they already had that they bought. So they tied them up to trees. Sort of big crowd of, it was actually I'd say it was probably a good 30, maybe 40 people who had turned out. And also they planted blue and yellow flowers as well. In addition to sunflowers, they got blue and yellow flowers for the Ukrainian national colors. One guy was wearing the Ukrainian stamp T-shirt. That's the stamp. The stamp. Yes, I'm from El Salvador. The stamp of the Ukrainian soldier giving the middle finger to the Russian ship, the Moskva, that sank. It was great though. It was really a neat. Oh, and then these are some of the other sunflowers that were there from before. These are the only ones remaining. But to give you a sense of how tall the sunflowers were, these sunflowers were a good, got up to be 6-8 feet tall. So Ben decided to organize today for everybody to go back, put more sunflowers out, and basically go to the Russians. So it was a good day. It was quite fun. The Red Cross. So the Russians are refusing to let the Red Cross in to the prison that was bombed the other day, that killed at least 50 Ukrainian soldiers from the Azov battalion. Now, sip of tea again. You'll remember what this story was. I love when people keep coming on and going, "Hey, the T-shirt, you made it." I did make it. Yes, it worked. It worked quite well, actually. So I mentioned yesterday that somebody, again, the mythical somebody pulled up the sunflowers and somebody bombed a prison in eastern Ukraine that contained Ukrainian prisoners of war. We don't know who that somebody is. I've got more details coming on who the somebody is, to be honest. But nobody knows who that somebody was. The Russians say it was the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians say it was the Russians. All we know is There were 123 Russians in the building, and 50 Russians were killed, at least, and something like 73 Russians were injured. Ukrainians. I hate when I mix them up. There were 123 Ukrainians in the building, prisoners of war. 50 Ukrainian prisoners of war were killed. 73 Ukrainian prisoners of war were injured. How many Russians were injured? None, because apparently there weren't any Russians in the building at the time of the bombing. A prison, okay? A prison. This prison building had nobody Russian in it, or collaboration-ish of the Ukrainians, right? The Ukrainian collaborators. None of them were there. It was empty. They saved themselves. There weren't any support staff. There was no janitor cleaning the floors, right? There were no guards. Nobody was there. Just coincidentally, nobody was there, right? So the thing I wanted to tell you too, Oliver Alexander, who's very good. He's one of the defense people I follow, defense experts. He's in Denmark. Don't know who the guy is. He's just a very good defense analyst from Denmark. Oliver writes today on Twitter, if the Russian claims were to be believed, Russia would have decided for some reason to move prisoners of war outside of the interior secure perimeter to a less secure storage manufacturing structure, only for this building to then be randomly hit with a single Highmars the day after. So he's saying that one day before the building gets bombed, the Russians move them from a high security area. Mind you, these are the Azov battalion guys, the guys that the Russians claim are Enzis, the guys the Russians don't want to release, the guys the Russians have said should be put to death, and who the Russian embassy in London just yesterday said these guys should be put to death. Every single one of them. They're not real soldiers, blah, 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 right? So, of course, the Russians really don't want these guys getting away because they want to kill them all. They move them from top security to very low security in a different building the day before the bombing. Like I said, you do the math. Turkey says the first Ukrainian grain ship should set off August 1st tomorrow. The boat is already ready to leave Odessa, and the probability is high that the boat will finally leave tomorrow. So that's good. This is part of the deal that was worked out between the Turks, the Russians, the Ukrainians, and the United Nations. Lebanon detained a ship carrying stolen Ukrainian grain. That was good. We were hearing more stories about these ships coming to Lebanon and the Ukrainians asking the Lebanese to step in, and it looks like they did, which is good. This is an interesting story too, because another sort of fog of war-ish story. Russian media is claiming that a Ukrainian drone attacked Russia's naval headquarters for the Black Sea, which is in Sevastopol, Ukraine. Now, Sevastopol is down here, southernmost point of Crimea. Crimea is a Ukrainian peninsula that the Russians stole in 2014. It's still Ukrainian, and the Russians are basing their Black Sea, right? Are basing the Black Sea fleet here out of Sevastopol. So again, someone, except this time clearly it was Ukrainians, someone dropped a bomb of some kind in the courtyard of the naval headquarters for the Russian fleet. As a result, the Russians were just getting ready to celebrate, what do they call it, Navy Day or something? Is it Navy Day, which is like one of the biggest celebrations of the year. And they had to cancel it all, tell all the Russian families to stay in their homes because who knows how dangerous this is now. The Ukrainians are denying it, which is interesting, but kind of makes sense in a way. The Ukrainians are denying it, and just putting on my temperature a little here. The Russian military bloggers, who remember are the private citizens who blog about these things and have a military background. Thank you, Netlin. That one always makes me laugh. The Russian military bloggers are saying they don't think it was a drone. They think it was more likely Ukrainian partisans who, again, are private citizens living under occupation, working with Ukrainian intelligence on the sly, or it's Ukrainian security agents themselves. In other words, Ukrainian spies who slip in, blow things up, and then get out, right? If it were actually, if it were Ukrainian security, I could see them not wanting to say it was them, right? Because they don't want to say, oh yeah, we actually have secret agents who know how to get by your front gate. So your front gate's probably co-opted or something like that, right? And in general, Ukraine has sort of enjoyed sometimes they take credit, but a lot of times they don't take credit. And I think they've sort of enjoyed the cat and mouse game with the Russians. Thank you, Al and Netlin. They enjoy sort of making the Russians have to scrounge for details and do investigations and things because they're just not sure. Now, another interesting reason potentially, thank you, who is that, Samantha, for the lights. One other reason I was thinking of is, even though, hang on a second, like more tea. Even though Crimea is Ukraine, the Russians, of course, are going to, how this is Russian territory, you've attacked Russian territory, it's World War III. It's possible that in order to make it harder for the Russians to give the West a hard time, even though it's a bogus argument, right? It's not Russia, it's Ukraine. Even though it's a bogus argument, I wonder whether Ukraine isn't admitting it because it just makes it a little easier for the West to not have to even get into a back and forth with Russia about it. I think that would be unfortunate, but I think it's probably true that the Germans and the French and even the Biden administration is probably, honestly, I could easily see the Biden administration going, could you maybe not attack Crimea? I know it's yours, but the Russians think it's theirs, and it's just going to get them worked up, and we don't want Putin worked up because who knows what he'll do if he gets mad. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's exactly the kind of thing those guys would do. So bottom line is Ukraine's not admitting it. Pretty clear Ukraine did it. Donald. Oh, stop saying Donald was right. Donald. Oh, I sounded like Donald. I thought you said it sounded like Donald was right. I did sound like Donald. You're right. I was doing a little bit of a Donald Trump. Maybe that's my. I don't have a lot of range in my voice right now because it's better than yesterday, but not great. So all I can do is Donald Trump voices and Brenda Vaccaro or whatever. So sorry about that. Ukrainians say they hit a Russian transport train, which is good news. Thank you, Arabella, for the flowers. According to the spokesperson for the Odessa Oblast, Ukraine's military hit a 40-car train, 40 cars, folks, transporting Russian troops, equipment, and ammunition from Crimea using U.S.-made Highmars multiple rocket launchers on July 31st. Highmars are the same rocket system that the Ukrainians have been using so effectively at blowing up the ammunition dumps all across Russian-occupied Ukraine as well. So they're able to hit a train as well, which is interesting too, because it makes me wonder if the train was parked or if they hit the track right in front of the park, or right in front of the train. I wonder, because I'm guessing Highmars isn't the kind of thing you use on moving objects too much, I would think. Or actually tell me if anybody's a military expert, is it the kind of thing that if it were a moving train that you would try to hit it with a Highmars? Or is that just that sounds kind of crazy to me, like they'd wait until the train stopped or hit the track when you know the train is coming. Am I right on this? Ye of military knowledge. I'm going to wait a second and see. Come on. Highmars can hit C-A-N. Really? Well, okay. I'm forgetting we're talking about a train here, okay? Of course, it can hit a moving train because a moving train is still stationary at any one point. I'm gonna get crazy physics here, right? But if this is the train moving, right? All I have to do is hit this spot. Like let's pretend this is a train. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Let's say it took 13 seconds for the train to pass, right? All I have to do is know it takes 13 seconds and target this spot. And I've got 13 seconds to hit this spot. So in a way, it's stationary. Yeah, the train is stationary in a way. And even more so, you know when the train is arriving, so to speak, you know how fast it is. This is This is high school math, remember? If a train is traveling 30 miles an hour, right? So you know how fast the train is going. You know how far away it is from a certain spot. You can calculate, and you then can use an unmanned drone to make sure that the train has passed the point you're going to hit. And the drone confirms, oh yeah, the train, like I said, this is the train. This is the train. It's already hit this spot. So you fire. I never thought about that. That's true. Yeah. So you could hit a train. Yeah. Well, no, because I was thinking of a train as moving, and I wasn't thinking of it's not moving in a way because it's on a track, so that it's moving, but you get what I'm saying. It's not, because it's on a track, so it's easy to go after. That's really interesting. Thank you, Lucas. I hope you're not making fun since I gave such a bad explanation of how this works with the trains, but yeah, you could just destroy the track. The only thing is, if you destroy the track, you run the risk of the train stopping. In this case, you had troops on the train. You had equipment, I believe, yes, and ammunition, and they wanted to cause as much damage to all three, which means you wanted to hit the train. So that was the thing. Around 80 Russian soldiers were killed and around 200 injured as a result of the attack. This is interesting. This is from Ukraine Defense Intelligence. Again, I can't confirm it, but I'll throw it out there. Ukrainian Defense Intelligence says the 200 Russian Marines from the 810th Naval Infantry Brigade refused to come back to fight in southern Ukraine. This has caused a significant problem, which, according to Ukrainian data, delayed the process of restoration and combat coordination of the battalion tactical group. That's kind of highfalutin language. Obviously, if 200 Russian Marines refuse to go fight, you'd think that would be a big deal. Marines especially. Well, okay, fair enough. Russian Marines, an oxymoron. I mean, I'm assuming, are Russian Marines I don't mean as good as our Marines. They're not as good as our Marines. But what I mean is, are Russian Marines, we sort of perceive our Marines as or is that just hype? When I perceive a Marine, I perceive really tough. Or is that just the hype that the Marines would like you to believe? Versus Army, versus Navy, whatever. Maybe it is just the hype the Marines put out there. Because I hear Russian Marines and I think these should be the tough guys. I think it's propaganda the Marines put out. That would be my guess. But thank you, Inspired. That's a new one. Well, anything orc is a hype. Exactly. Interesting. Their Marines are just naval infantry. Our Marines do something different. They are tough SOBs. I always think of Marines as being tougher, but I don't know. Marines is the hardest branch by far in training, and they usually go in first for most engagements. That's interesting. Okay. Maybe Russian Marines with soldiers who aren't alcohol addicted. Maybe. Marine basics is more intense than Army, Air Force, and Navy. I did not know that. That's interesting. I did not know that. Okay. Very interesting. Okay. Well, there you go. I thought for sure the other branches were going to go, it's total hype. They want you to believe they're tougher than us. Thank you, Meg, for that. All right. Well, let me go on. So, okay. Yeah. So the Marines wouldn't show up, which is pretty funny. So Ukraine released a video, which I think it's only, I'm going to show you this. Harvey shared it. The British press is calling it bizarre. I thought it was kind of endearing, this video. The Ukrainians released a video thanking the Brits for being so supportive of them. And again, I thought it was kind of adorable. I'm going to show you this. Let's see. Hopefully, I don't know if you can. Hopefully you can see enough. I thought it was cute. Am I like, well, because the stupid British press or whatever covered it and said, bizarre new video the Ukrainians released. I think it's absolutely adorable, right? Every Russian the in-law takes out, he doesn't have to worry about it. It shows James Bond. I mean, you know, exactly. I thought it was absolutely, oh, thank you, Ginger. I appreciate that. I just thought it was absolutely adorable. And it's also adorable in kind of the way a foreigner perceives your country, you know. So they show the Queen, they show James Bond, some rugby or whatever guy I don't recognize, and I forgot who else they had in there. But it's like the highlights of who your country and the fact James Bond, you know, to Ukrainian. My guess is the Ukrainians probably love James Bond, is my guess as well. But well, correct, and as but our tangent saying the Ukrainian sense of humor. It's also the Ukrainian sense of humor, right? And it's a kick in the teeth of the Russians. Exactly, Judy. Oh, David Bowie. That was it. Bowie and Shakespeare too. Yeah. I mean, David Bowie and Shakespeare and the Queen. Oh God, it made me laugh. Oh, all right. I've got one more thing, and then we can go. Like I said, there wasn't a lot of news today, really. I did spend time going through it. There just wasn't that much. So Nichelle Nichols, Uhura on Star Trek. Let me just pull this up for anybody who's not familiar with Star Trek, or who is maybe just familiar with Star Trek. So that's Nichelle Nichols, who was Uhura. She was the communications officer in the original Star Trek series. Okay, African-American woman. She had written in her memoirs, I think, that she died today at age 89. She had written in her memoirs that after her first year on the job, she was going to quit because they kept cutting out her lines. So they kept like reducing her role. She'd have lines and then they'd cut it at the last minute. So in other words, she was just, she was there literally going, she was the communications person. So it was like, Laura, send this to Starfleet. Yes, Captain. Right? It was just a lot of, yes, Captain. She faced a lot of racism off the set. A lot of weirdness with the executives in the industry. Anyway, bottom line is she hated the job and she told them she was quitting. And she gave her notice and said, I'm leaving after this. The first year is over. I'm gone. And the next day, she goes, I saw her interviewed and I saw her telling the story, and then I Googled it just to make sure I've got it right. But I saw her interviewed telling the story. The next day, she goes to an event for the NAACP, which is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, one of the most august, oldest African-American or Black civil rights organizations in the U.S. She goes to this event and she meets Martin Luther King, or Martin Luther King Jr., right? Martin Luther King, the big civil rights icon in America, African-American. And she meets King and she was, I think, nervous about meeting King. Well, he wanted to meet her. That was the part that was in her interview. She goes something like, I was told somebody wanted to meet me, and she was like, him? He wants to meet me? Huge fan. He says, my wife and the kids and I watch you every week. We're huge fans of yours. And she's like, really? And she goes, and I told him, oh, that's really too bad because, I'm leaving the show. Listen to what King told her. This was amazing. And this is from her. He goes, you cannot and must not, she recalls him saying, don't you realize how important your presence, your character is? Don't you see? This is not a Black role. This is not a female role. You have the first non-stereotypical role on television, male or female. You have broken ground. For the first time, he continued, the world sees us, meaning Black people, as we should be seen, as equals, as intelligent people, as we should be. She as a result, she decided to stay on the show. And she stayed on for several seasons. Now, the other, actually, it's funny too, because I think even when you know Star Trek, you kind of have to think back to it, but it's true. She was bridge crew. She was an officer. She was a lieutenant, right? So she wasn't like a lot of the pretty women with the boobs on Star Trek are ensigns. There's always a pretty ensign that would come on the set, but she's a lieutenant. They never really did the TNA thing with her, really. I mean, this was 1960s. They all had short uniforms. Her character was just that very intelligent, very smart, the character. And interesting too, like him saying it wasn't necessarily a female role, and he's right about that too. Like it wasn't a girl job, you know? And this is the 1960s. The other thing, exactly as people are, Ian and others have said, also, they went on to have the first interracial kiss on at least American TV. They say TV. I don't know whether abroad had one. Thank you, Mary, for that. I don't know whether any of you in other countries had it. In America, it was the first interracial kiss. Now, I want to pull this up, though, because as happens with civil rights, it's a little bit, and I did see a question come in. I will get to it in a second here. Uhura, interracial kiss. It's a bit funny. Video. Here we go. Oh, no. Oh, come on. No, no, no. I want to see the actual clip. I'm trying to find the clip and not like these goofy, you know, you pull. It can be hard to find videos sometimes. Here we go. Is this going to show me? Okay, here we go. This is the first kiss.
I'm so frightened. I'm so very frightened.
That's the way they want you to feel. Makes them think that they're alive.
I know it. But I wish I could stop trembling.
Try not to think of them.
I'm going to stop a second and then tell you what's going on. These are these super intelligent alien beings who control so much of their brain that they're able to do telekinesis and whatever. So as part of a play, they wanted them to put on a play for them. So the Star Trek crew is being forced by mind control to do all the movements they're doing. So Kirk and Uhura, a white man and a black woman, are in a loving embrace because the alien bad guy is making them, right? So, I mean, do you get, this is how they got around, I think, the censors back then, because it's not an interracial kiss. Right?
I'm thinking of all the times on the Enterprise when I was scared to death. And I would see you so busy at your command. And I would hear your voice from all parts of the ship. And my fears would fade. And now they're making me tremble. But I'm not afraid. I am not afraid.
There we go. And that was the first interracial kiss on television because it was mind controlled by evil aliens forcing them to kiss each other. I mean, it cracks me up. I mean, having said that, I mean, people would knock it, but this is the 1960s. In America, it was, how to phrase this. It was legal to ban interracial marriage. In many states in the US, interracial marriage was illegal. Black and white people could not marry in 1967. And that was when the Supreme Court decision came down, Loving v. Virginia, that said these laws are unconstitutional. You cannot have a law in the books that stops blacks and whites from marrying. And 1967. Right? And you have Republicans today who want to get rid of that decision. That came out in the last 2 weeks. Some of the senior Republicans think that decision was decided. Now they argue, you know, on technical grounds, it was decided incorrectly, and they want to leave it back to states again. It's not just black and white; it's interracial marriage. So it was you couldn't mix the races. And now the question here is, it would have been white mixing with anybody. I wonder whether the races themselves could mix. You know what I mean? My suspicion is black and Asian, it was fine because who cares about them anyway, right? Whereas white couldn't mix with anybody. That I know. So it wasn't just black. But it was a famous case because Loving v. Virginia, she's actually, and I will show you their picture too, because it's a really sweet picture of them.
We have to tell everyone that we just switched to Verizon's new Welcome Unlimited plan.
One moment. I'm trying to find the. Yeah, this is the picture. It's just such a wonderful picture of the two of them. Hold on. That's them at the time. See, isn't that a great photo of them? So they must have been, they were in the law office. And again, you've got to think 1967. And they're living in a state where it's illegal and they say, screw it. We love each other, you know? But it is a wonderful photo. Yeah. Anyway, so there you go. There you go. All right. We can do our Q&A. Italians, that's a good question back then. I'm going to guess Italians were considered, well, I mean, Italians probably weren't considered okay, but it wasn't considered interracial at the point, you know? Because we were Greek. I mean, we are Greek. We were Greek, and there wasn't any issue about getting work, getting, you know, where we lived. That wasn't a question back then in the 1960s for Greeks. So Italians would have been in the same situation we were probably still at that point. Whereas before, forget it. Right. Irish, well, 1960s though, 60s is a weird period because for a lot of the white European groups, they had moved beyond a lot of the overt prejudice. You know, like the signs saying no Irish. There were signs in stores though. I'm trying to remember when this goes back to, hang on, let me look here. Because I feel like this goes back to the 20s or something. Let me see how long this goes back. 1 second here. Oh, even more so. Well, I mean, 1854, but what's the, people are fighting over the, publisher was a Plunky? Oh, I see. I mean, there were no Irish need apply signs, but they were, it looks like they might have been the late 1800s. Yeah, looks like it was the late 1800s for the no Irish need apply. But even growing up though, I mean, I heard bad things about Irish people growing up in Chicago. We have a huge Irish population, but they were one of the groups that I grew up as a Greek hearing Irish be maligned, and it was just sort of like, you know, I mean, actually, I'll tell you this too, Jews as well. I had a Jew, I think I must have told this story before. I had a Jewish friend in high school, Keith Spergel, and Keith, I think I even told Keith, I asked him, he didn't remember at one of our reunions. And I remember going to Keith once, like freshman year of high school. And I said, Keith, I don't understand anti-Semitism. Can you know, he was Jewish. I said, mind you, he was like the only Jew in school, literally. I was like, I don't understand it. Like, what? I said, you're just like me. You know what I mean? Keith looked like me, like brown hair, kind of straight and wavy. He was white, right? Smart kid, nice guy. I'm like, you literally look like you're Greek. Like, what's the deal? And I remember him saying, John, I have no idea. I really don't know. But the Irish too, like my dad, mind you, I don't know at the time he died, but I remember my dad in the 1970s making comments about the Irish, how you couldn't trust Irishmen. And I mean, now I sit here and I'm like, where does that even come from? You know, it's so crazy. I mean, all prejudice, I guess, works this way, you know, where decades later you look back and go like, what the hell was that? You know, but it's just, I mean, it blows my mind. I mean, what I find fascinating, it basically is just that the concept that prejudice, that animus in this case towards groups of people isn't just based on race, is what I mean. Because we often think of it in terms of race, because that is often what it is, but that the animus went further in that, I mean, Irish, like Greeks and Italians, we weren't liked 100 years ago, you know? I mean, my mom and my godmother would tell me stories about that her father, would say the prejudice they faced. I think originally when they moved here, they couldn't get jobs and they had to work on the railroad, like the Transcontinental Railroad or whatever it was back like late 1800s, early 1900s, like very early though. So we had a lot of relatives. My grandfather worked on it. One of the grandfather's brothers who died working on the railroad, but he died like, I don't even know, 19 teens or something, 19 years old. And that was the only jobs they could get because they were dirty Greeks or dirty Italians, So in that case, race, now we'd say race like, what are you talking about? I'm white. But back then, race played a card. But with the Irish, did they actually think the Irish were another race? I don't think so. I think they just thought they were corrupt people or whatever it was. Anyway, it blows my mind. I'm just sort of fascinated by, as I said, looking back historically at things that today are just ridiculous, and the idea that people could even think them. Like it's like the Irish. And frankly, the Jewish thing boggles my mind too, because I've always had Jewish friends, and I like Jew. I've always had a connection with Jewish people. I like Jewish people. I think Jewish guys are hot, and they're smart, and they're fun. I like Jewish people. So whatever. Very strange. Very strange. Anyway, but yes, this is just somebody else was asking. This is the T-shirt I made. I took a picture of the Vishivanka that Vlad gave me. Now, the real one goes down to like my belly button, but to fit it on here, I took a photo, I edited the photo, and then put it on the application, ironed it on, and it's fun because you can even like see the tassels because it's based on a photo. Well, I made the shirt. The image is based on an actual. Oh my God, I had a question from forever ago, didn't I? Joseph, I'm sorry. I had your question from forever ago and totally forgot. But I made it by taking a photograph of a traditional Ukrainian garment, cutting it out, and then applying it here. Yeah. So I didn't like do the design. Sorry about that, Joseph. Oh my God. Oh, interesting. I'm trying to remember where this came up in our conversation, but he learned that vodka may have been a way for Russia to keep the masses happy, and vodka became a sort of secondary currency. Vodka became associated with Russia. Interesting. Okay. I don't know anything about that, but wouldn't be surprised. Certainly keeping the masses happy. I could imagine that for sure. Beware Greeks bearing gifts. Yeah, but that was, beware like Greeks 2,000 years ago bearing, oh, hell, not even 2,000. Would that have been 3,000? When was the Trojan War? 2,500? Give or take. I'm forgetting Harvey should know. Harvey's a well-educated Brit. Same age as your grandmother. How many babies did your family pump out, Harvey? What do you mean the same age as your grandmother? That's insane. I thought maybe you'd say your mother, your grandmother. Well, I mean, I guess if the women kept having kids at age 15 or 18, it's possible, I guess. Turuska, hello, or Toruska from Ukraine. Привіт, greetings. Greetings from my I stand for with Ukraine mug. Anyway. So what else we got going on? Instagram. Okay, I'll check it on Instagram. I will check it on Instagram. What else? Oh, okay, 18. There you go. She had my mother at 18, then my mother had me at 25. So I'm just a little younger. All right. That is funny. Grandparents. Although, but that's true though, because you could be. You could, I mean, you can have a kid at, even at 25. You can have a kid at 25, and that kid has a kid at 25, and all of a sudden, you're 50. Well, kind of like working myself through that. Anyway, you get my point there. Thank you, Flower Lady, for the coral. China and Taiwan, I don't know if anything else is really going on. China was all upset at Pelosi, but besides that, I'm not quite sure what else is up with that. And now Sasha's making noise in the other room, like she thinks I'm going to go play with her. That's funny. Oh, I'm feeling better today. My throat is still being bad, but I'm not feeling wiped out like I was the previous days. Like a little slightly, but not really. And I didn't even take a nap today. I mean, the other days, my God. Yesterday, oh my God. I took a nap in the morning. I took a nap in the afternoon. What was yesterday? Saturday? Yeah, I took a nap. I took a nap in the morning. I took a nap after the show for like 2 hours. And that morning, I woke up at 10:30 and I'd gone to bed at 11. So I slept so much in the last 24 hours, but it looks like it helped. Did you report the Russian embassy guy? Which exact thing are you referring to, Deemer? There were a couple Russian embassy things going on. Let me know, Deemer. No, I'll get into it. If you're in trouble, blink 3 times. What's the, oh God. First of all, I mean, I could probably read anything in Greek. I wouldn't understand it, but I could probably read it. Sure. Garna Vishivanka. Oh yeah. So I was saying, Turuska, I made this. I've got a Vishivanka inside. And I did basically, I took a picture of it and then put the picture, I cut it out, put the picture on the stuff you use for the printer that you can do, and then you iron it. But it ended up being a really cool shirt. I'm very proud of myself. So I wore it today to a protest we had at the Russian embassy. We were planting sunflowers today in front of the Russian embassy. So it was quite fun. The Russians got upset. They were not happy. So it was very funny. Leona, John, I have a stupid question. There's no such thing as a stupid question. How come Ukraine cannot bomb Russia? I know they're not allowed with the US sent over, but don't they have anything that will reach? They've got some stuff that, they've got some stuff that reaches just because, and I do see, Deemer, I'm going to save what you wrote and I will look at it in a second. Let me just show you on the map, okay? Russia is this border. All of this border is Russia. So all you have to do is step on the Ukrainian border and throw a rock and you hit Russia. So of course, Ukraine has weapons that can hit Russia, right? The Ukrainians have been careful about not going into Russia too much. It was that far back, so it was 3,000. There you go. I was kind of feeling like it was before, you know what I mean? Interesting. 1000 BC then. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. It was because it felt like it was from era. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. So I think the Ukrainians are being careful. They're going and they're blowing up some things. Like they blew up ammunition depot in Belgorod, right across the border from Kharkiv. They blew up oil storage facility. They blew up a train crossing in the same area because this Belgorod, which is literally where my finger is, right across the border from Kharkiv, is a major point for supplying, basically supporting the war effort down here. Well, the whole war effort around here supported out of Belgorod. So the more things they blow up there, the better. What was interesting is the Ukrainians were not claiming credit for the attacks. And I think part of it was to give them that little bit of deniability. But I would agree with you that it's kind of BS because, I mean, Russia literally has taken over 20% of Ukraine. Why can't Ukraine invade Russia or bomb Russia or whatever? My suspicion is at this point, again, they probably don't, I don't know whether they have weapons that can hit other cities. You know, and part of the problem too is Ukraine doesn't want to just blow up civilians the way the Russians did. The Russians don't care about blowing, not only do they don't care, the Russians want to blow up civilians. Their strategy has been to kill civilians, you know? I mean, that's the difference. So that, I don't know. So I think my point there is the Ukrainians would have to kind of figure out, is it to their benefit to attack something on Russian soil? They just might not, they might not see it to their benefit. Meaning there's more important things to do, you know, back home. Yep, just saying here real quick. Oh, you're very welcome. Sorry, I was looking at what Toruska wrote, and I saw Jaku, which I knew was thank you, but didn't understand the rest of it, so I used my Google Translate. You are very welcome. You are very welcome. So what else we got? What else we got? But it is BS. I agree with you. It's you know. Well, yes. What do you got? Deemer. So there was a post of. Oh yeah, I thought that's what you were talking about, Deemer. I wasn't sure. Yes. So a Russian embassy officials. There's a. Before I left, two little girls. I don't have their picture. Two little girls go. And at the entrance of there's two entrances for the Russian embassy. Let me, real quick, I'll show you the one. So this is one entrance off of Wisconsin Avenue. Okay, this is the one big entrance. And there's an entrance on the other side off of Tunlaw Road. And on the Wisconsin Avenue side, I didn't see it happen, but I had noticed, see if I can find this. I had noticed that there were flowers laid down in the middle of the driveway, sunflowers. I don't know if I took a picture of it or not. I don't think I did. Hold on. Or I took one on my my big camera, but it you know, it was a picture of flowers on some ground, so it didn't really look anything special. Yeah, I'm not seeing it here. So there were some flowers on the ground, and basically some children with the group, two little girls, carried some sunflowers and set it down on the entrance of the driveway to the Russian embassy. Now I'm going to try to find. One second here. I'm going to try to find on Twitter. Ivana Trump. There's a whole other story. See, I still want to find the girls first and then show you this Russian jerk with the embassy. But first, I want to find the girls. So where are the girls? Where are the girls? Where are the girls? Oh, it'll be in Ben's Twitter feed. Ben Wittes, who's the guy who set this up. Come on. Come on. There's video too. What an asshole. Sorry, it's just amazing. Oh, here we go. So these are the two little girls. Each of them takes some of the flowers, the sunflowers. And they set them down on the sidewalk right in front of the Russian, right in the middle. It's the middle of the driveway, but it's the sidewalk. It's still a city sidewalk. So you see? And then that's the entrance to the embassy. So what happens next? Here we go. So what happens next? This jerk gets out of his car, Russian diplomat, and kicks the flowers. I'll have to find you the better picture. It goes by so quickly it's hard to see. I've got a better picture of him doing this. Here we go. Actually, hold on. I'm going to download the photo and edit it a second so you can see it more easily. One moment. Boom. So yeah, this guy got upset, was pulling in, got pissed off because he saw the sunflowers and it pissed him off. Now, that, if anything, to me, that is the sign of a successful protest, that this guy got pissed off because because he saw the sunflowers and he wasn't happy. So this guy, hang on, did you see contrast maybe? Yeah, here we go. Hold on, I'm even gonna crop a little to make it even bigger. There we go. Right, so this guy gets out of his car and kick the flowers, literally just to kick them. The flowers weren't blocking his car. He pulls into the Russian embassy driveway, stops his car, gets out, kicks the flowers 6 feet and gets back into his car. Look at this, jerk. I mean, it's a great photo. Just gets out of his car, walks 6 feet over, kicks the flowers and gets back in. And it was great. And then one of the people putting up flowers yells, "Murderer, murderer." This was in DC at the Russian embassy. Yeah. Russian diplomat. And then the diplomat gets upset. And let me see. Hold on. Let me go back to the video again. Hold on. He gets upset and he complains to the Secret Service agent. And I'm not quite sure what he... Oh, this is good. Ooh. Oh, hold on. I'm showing. He pulls up to the gate, and as he's waiting, I swear I get the guy. That's good. That's good. Then, like I said, then he complains to the Secret Service. Hold on, I'm going to pull the Secret Service thing up. Or I wanted the video of him. Hang on here. I forgot. Did she get the video of him? She got the full video of him kicking, I thought. Yeah, she got the video. Maybe not here. Oh, yeah, here it is. He didn't fall over, though. No, he didn't fall over. Hold on, I'm going to download the video just to have a quick look at it. But he didn't. He kicked it, but he didn't fall over. Oops. Sorry. Oops. Oh, they can identify him. I mean, the problem is, he got out and kicked some flowers in the driveway. So I'm guessing there's probably not a lot they can get him on. But you can. I'm going to try to. I'm going to hold it just at the spot and let go so you can see. Yeah, see, he just literally, he's just kicking them there, and then, so that's, anyway, and then like I said, yeah, then he complains to the Secret Service, and I'm not sure what he thought he was going to get out of complaining to the, then he's complaining to the Secret Service. Look at him. These people here, there were 2 small children, age 3, little girls. I feared for my life. They were carrying dangerous weapons, otherwise known as sunflowers. And the 2 3-year-old children made me fear for my life. It was horrible. It was like the pogrom. Stalin couldn't have done worse. It's like, oh, well. Oh, selling sunflowers. Now, that would be a hustle. So somebody, Colby goes, is anyone selling sunflowers outside the embassy? Well, somebody should have come and sold the flowers to us at the embassy, like showing up with a big van and go, that would have been funny. Oh man. Yeah, it was good. It was a good day. I didn't see finally what they did at the other entrance, because they really went nuts on the other entrance too. But it was very, it was good. I feared for my life, bruh. Dude, I feared for my life, bruh. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Oh, I'm sure he would have. Yeah. Anyway, they're planning more things. I can't quite tell you, because Ben Wittes told me some things that they're working on that I'm not going to share. Harvey Kittle is saying they're doing a support Ukraine demonstration. Thank you for that. Is that Misfit? Thank you. Harvey says they're doing a support Ukraine demonstration in Trafalgar Square in London, Wednesday, August 3rd, from noon to 5 p.m. So noon to 1700. So that's August 3rd in Trafalgar Square. So be aware. Nichols was responsible for Sally Ride joining NASA. Get out. I didn't know that. Thank you, Kanausi. Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Anyway, it was fun. It was fun. And they're going to be doing more of the showing the Ukrainian flag on the walls of things and that kind of stuff too. Dude, I was losing. Exactly. Oh my. All right. What else we got? Yep. It's already 12 after. God, I didn't even look at the questions here yet. Let me look here really quick. My voice is being improved today, so I don't want to force it by going over, since it's still, like I said, I'm shocked. It's slightly better. So even though it's tough, it was feeling it's better than it was. Q&A. I do not think America and China are getting into a war. I just don't see it happening. I don't see the tensions. I mean, they're pissed off about Taiwan, whatever. I mean, if they invade Taiwan, we're getting into a war. Yes. But I think they know that. Biden has made that clear. And I think also what happened in Ukraine has shown the Chinese that they don't need those kind of sanctions. They would get those kind of sanctions. They don't need those kind of sanctions. So yeah. Now, Russian embassy in Dublin. Remember, Dublin is where the guy drove his truck into wasn't that Dublin where the guy drove his truck into the gates? And this was after the city of Dublin already cut off the hot water to the embassy. And then the guy drives his truck through the gates. It was like, oh my God. And he was great. He was actually he was talking about why. It was he was pissed. And it was the Irish, I believe, who basically invaded that Russian naval exercise they were going to have. And all the Irish fishermen went out there and basically mucked it all up, right? Seriously. Now I know why my dad didn't like Irishmen. You're tough little mother effers, right? It was the fisherman. Oh my God. So funny. I did not do a recap yet. I'll do a recap right now since it is quarter after anyway. So I was mentioning I'm going to look right now. Hang on a second. I'm going to open up my Twitter and look. There's a lot of weird stuff going on right now on the border with Kosovo and Serbia. Oh, jeez. The Kosovo government announced in a press release that it has decided to postpone the reciprocity decision on license plates, and Serbia issued IDs for a month because everyone was freaking out. Jesus Christ. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, but whatever. Hmm. Ooh. 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 So Kosovo obviously was de-escalating, okay, by removing. I talked about it at the beginning of the hour, but Kosovo basically, Serbs in Kosovo keep not buying Kosovar license plates. It's a country. They're not buying the license plates. They go to Serbia, they get license plates that are in Serbian or whatever and have the correct initial of their city, but they're Serbian license plates because, frankly, I'm sorry, these people are being jerks. You know what? I'm Greek American. I don't say, oh, you must let me use Greek license plate on my car because I'm Greek. You know what I mean? Give me a break, right? So the Serbian ethnic folks in Kosovo are all pissed off, and the Kosovars. I mean, it was becoming. This was turning into a very interesting crisis on the border with security troops rushing in and everything in the last couple hours, and the Kosovars now said they're putting off for a month these new rules, and it's absolutely ridiculous, of course, because what country allows you to use, other license plates? The NATO mission in Kosovo issued a communique, a press release. This is interesting. Hang on a second. The overall security situation in the northern municipalities of Kosovo is tense. The NATO-led KFOR mission is monitoring closely and is prepared to intervene if stability is jeopardized in accordance with its mandate. Ooh. Our NATO-led KFOR mission is fully focused on the daily implementation of its UN mandate to ensure a safe and secure environment and freedom of movement for all the people of Kosovo. Ooh. Oh my. KFOR will take whatever means are necessary to keep a safe and secure environment in Kosovo at all times, in line with its UN mandate. That's the end of the press release. Oh, NATO threatened to kick Serbia's ass again. That's what happened. NATO threatened to kick Serbia's ass, and at the same time, my guess is the NATO folks talked to the Kosovar government and said, look, why don't you withdraw that stuff for a month? But at the same time, we're going to put out a press release and let the Serbs know that if they do anything, they're fighting us again. If they try anything cute. So, wow. Good for NATO. Damn. Wow. Anyway, yes. Hello, Orchid Man. Yes, I was just telling folks, I made this today. I used a real Vyshyvanka and took a photo of one that I've got here. Printed it on my t-shirt. I like showing off my t-shirt. Isn't that great? Yeah, I'm going to make these once. As I said, if anybody knows anybody at represent.com, find out why they're not approving me, because I would love to start making my merchandise. So, well, NATO got a backbone. NATO got a backbone with Serbia. Blew the hell out of Serbia 20 years ago, rightfully so. 23 years ago. Actually, my funny story, I pissed off the Serbs back in 1999 when we went to war with Serbia. War, whatever you want to call it. The Serbian information ministry was Serbia-info.org, I think. And I think they bought the .org because they were the government. So they thought .com was weird. So I went and bought Serbia-info.com. I bought their web address, and I was able to, this is back when websites were simple. I was able to download the entire Serbian Information Ministry website, and I downloaded it and changed it, and I filled it with basically a lot of moose and squirrel jokes. So I took like Milosevic and I replaced his head with all the jokes from the American cartoons about the Russians and the Soviets. It was pretty funny. Well, the Serbs got pissed. I mean, not the Serbs. They at one point, Serbian hackers took down my site. I went for a job interview at the State Department. I went to the State Department and got a consulting job for about 6 months after 9/11. And my boss, who was the head of like information at the time at the State Department, very high level guy, takes me to lunch and to meet a number of other high level people at State. And we're talking, and I don't know why, but somebody brings up something, and the guy goes, "Oh, did you ever see?" Maybe he said, John did some good work on the war with Serbia or something. And the State Department guy turns and he goes, "Oh, did you ever see that really great website spoof that somebody did of the Serbian Ministry of Information?" And I was like, "That's me." It was really cool. It was very cool. But I love doing that kind of stuff. Absolutely. I love doing that shit. Roy said, there's a profile of me by the gay publication here in DC. And I told them, like, basically the title of the profile is "Asshole for Justice." Because in the interview, I told them, I said, a number of friends and I years ago, we were trying to describe what we do for a living, and it's so hard. And I finally came up with the name "Asshole for Justice." Because I'm like, we're kind of assholes, but we do it for good causes. We kind of like punch bad guys metaphorically in the face, So it's a wonderful profile, but I mean, they really did a wonderful job. But it's very funny that that's the name. So anyway, oh my God. Oh, all right. I'm going to go another minute or two and then we'll stop, guys, because as I said, my voice is slightly better today, but it's still bad. But at least I feel better, which is good. What else? Beep, 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 beep. Anyway, they were shouting Putin's name. Football match between Turkey and Ukraine. The Turks were shouting Putin's name. Yeah, but that's like an obnoxious, thank you, Al, or Alicia, or Lika. That's the kind of things people say, I mean, oh, my eyes, that's funny. Yeah, well, I think that's because I got so much sleep yesterday. No, I mean, I was starting the recap. Okay, I'll do the recap really fast. Right. So Kosovo-Serbian border problems we just talked about. Sunflower protests at the embassy today. I was at Russian embassy. It went well. The Russians are refusing to let I didn't even mention, I mentioned this, but only briefly. The Russians are refusing to let the Red Cross visit the prison that was bombed by somebody and killed all the Ukrainian prisoners of war. Now, the Russians, being Russian, said, "Of course we'll let the yes, Red Cross, we give you permission." And then the Russians put the brakes and aren't letting the Red Cross, even though they said they can go, they're not letting them go, the Red Cross, to visit the prison. This is, to me, this means the Russians bombed the prison, because this is classic Russian to go, "Oh, of course you can visit." So they're busy cleaning up the prison and trying to get rid of any evidence possible of the Russian bomb that blew it up, clearly. So anyway, Turkey says the first Ukrainian grain shipment should be off, should go with, the grain ship should go August 1st. It should take off, I'm saying. I'm talking like it's like a spaceship. The very first grain ship allowed out of the Black Sea should finally head out tomorrow. Lebanon detains a ship with stolen Ukrainian grain. The Russian media is blaming an attack on Russia's naval headquarters in Ukrainian Sevastopol on the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians, being the dodgy little folks they are going, we don't know. Ukrainians hit a Russian transport train in, where were they? Odessa. Oh, they were in Kherson. Even better. I wasn't even realizing. Yes. Right. So it was a transport train coming from Crimea up to Kherson Oblast, and the Ukrainians hit the train, 40-car train, 80 Russians dead, 200 injured, troops, ammunition, weapons, etc. 200 Russian Marines reportedly are refusing to come back to fight in Ukraine because they're wimps. And Ukraine released a pretty funky video thanking the Brits for their help in the war. And finally, Nichelle Nichols, who is Uhura on the original Star Trek, died today at age 89. So there we go. There we go. All right, guys. All right, I think I'm going to sign off. I can tell I'm still I'm feeling much better, but I'm still, having done this now, I'm like, I'm exhausted. So yeah, tomorrow is Monday, so we're back to our usual time, 6 p.m. Eastern US, and we will go today. Oh, your mom passed away today? Oh, that's awful. Oh, I'm sorry, Louie. Oh, that's horrible. Jeez. I'm so sorry. God. Oh, good. Yeah, moms are everything. All right, guys. All right, well then, 6 p.m. tomorrow. I will see you all. Well, my voice is starting to sound more ragged, but it's better than it was yesterday. But it is getting ragged. All right, guys. I just did the recap. You missed it. I literally just did it 2 seconds ago. Jay. And thank you, Louie. Oh, thank you, Louie. That's sweet of you. I appreciate it, as always. All right, guys. Then you all, goodbye. Go to Harvey's protest on August 3rd at Trafalgar Square for Ukraine. And I will see you all tomorrow.